Inyang, it's so nice to meet you. My name is Connie Inukai, and I'm so glad to be able to interview you. Okay, and let me just tell you the reason that I'm doing this interview. It's because I'm a relatively new entrepreneur, and I do not have a business coach. And I decided there must be a lot of people like me who don't know what to look for in a business coach. And so I thought, let me figure it out and interview some people so this will help me and it will help other people like me who have no idea what to look for in a business coach and to see if they're a good fit. Okay, so that is the reason for this interview. And so I'm going to give you a chance to tell me your views on being a business coach. Okay.
Thanks for having me, Connie. Thanks for having me. Lovely being here. That's what a great idea, and I'd love to tell you more about my business coaching and what I do as a business coach.
And where are you from, Inyang?
In Stockholm. I'm in Sweden, Stockholm.
Really? Okay. Well, that's great. Well, I'm in Maryland, near Washington, D.C.
Yes, I have actually my little sister. She lives there.
Really?
So, yes, in Maryland.
Okay, where does she live in Maryland, by the way?
Oh, I don't have the address at the top of my head, but yes, I was there 3 years ago now.
Okay, well, great. Well, the next time you come here, maybe we can meet.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
So I'm going to get started. And you can, first of all, you're a business coach, and I want to know what is a business coach, and what does a business coach do?
Well, a business coach can do very many different things, but what a business coach, the purpose of a business coach is to support the business owner, the team, into getting results. Right? And into getting the results that they actually want. Now, not all business owners know exactly what they want. So that's part of it, creating that clarity, knowing what they want and the how and the why of the whole business. So that it's just, getting down to being very clear about the scope of the business and where you're going with the business. So you can get a business owner for many different reasons. So it could be that you need help with some part of it, or if you're in a beginning stage to understand where you're going with your business. It all depends.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is very interesting because I do not have a business coach right now, but I did try to hire one.
Okay.
And it didn't really work out because I didn't know what to expect from a business coach. And actually, I'm an inventor. I became an inventor at age 68. And then I had my invention actually is called Tip and Split. And it's for people like my age who can't read the small print on the menu or the bill when they go out to eat. So it has a magnifying glass and it has a light, and it also can figure out a tip and split the bill in 3 seconds. Okay, so this is my invention, and I knew nothing about inventing, but I managed to sell it on QVC, the Today Show, The View, and many other places. Okay. Then I put my product on hold during COVID because I didn't want to encourage older people to go out to eat in restaurants. So instead, I started a new project, and my new project is called Write Your Selfie. And I'm going to get into my business coach later. And my Write Your Selfie is something that I felt that older people can do while they're staying at home. Because I'm 73 years old now, and I didn't want to go outside the house because I'm high risk for COVID. So instead, I started gathering all of my pictures from growing up. And in those days, we had photo albums. Nowadays, people just use their smartphone. But I went through all my photo albums and I decided to put them all together because we're worried about death. Well, I'm not really worried about it, but when I'm gone, I want people to know about me. And the only way they're going to know about me is what I tell them. Okay, so I actually wrote a book telling my children and my grandchildren about my life. This is my book, and I want them to know that I had a life before I became grandma. And I also am including a lot of facts about my ancestry and things that I didn't even know, but I want to share. For example, one of the strangest things is that my grandparents immigrated to the United States from Poland in 1912, and they had to postpone their trip because my grandma had morning sickness. And the trip that they postponed was on the Titanic.
Wow.
Okay, so my grandson, my oldest grandson, is 9 years old. He loves that story because he's fascinated by the Titanic. So I didn't even know about that when my mom was alive. She didn't tell me, but I found out through a cousin who is now deceased because he knew that story because it was his father who was the one that our grandma had morning sickness with. So I put in so many facts about my life. They're all interesting to me and to my future generations. And I thought a lot of people might have stories that they want to share. And, this is a good opportunity to collect those stories. Mm-hmm. So I wrote my book actually in 1 month. And it's easy to write because it's mostly pictures. Okay, it's a lot of pictures with captions. Mm-hmm. And so this is a very interesting picture of a boat. I grew up with 4 brothers and 1 sister, and we had a boat. And the boat was named after all of us. And my dad is David and my mom is Rebecca. So we called it Dr. DRSCACLE for each of the children, Sharon, Connie, Arthur, Chucky, Louie. And when the last child was born, we had to name him Eddie. So we can keep the name and not change it. It was Dr. Skakel. So I actually have this in my book so people will know about me. And we used to go fishing every weekend and come back with 100 fish for my mom to clean. And one time we had it and 1 fish was alive. So we put it in the bathtub till it died. And nobody in my family ever used that bathtub for 20 years. So it's a very interesting story. So my whole book is filled with stories. And I call my course, Write Your Selfie, because people your age do selfies and people my age do not. So this is a chance for them to write their selfie. Okay, so I actually hired a coach. And my new product is to get people to help them write their selfie. And she actually told me I should only focus on Write Your Selfie, nothing else about me or my brand. And when I was doing other things, she said, Connie, you have to focus on one thing. And every time what?
How did that make you feel?
Terrible. Because I am more than Write Your Selfie. And when I joined Clubhouse, I said, I don't know what my brand is. I'm trying to figure out my brand. And everybody said your brand is Grandmapreneur. Yeah. And I didn't know what my brand is, but that includes everything. And it includes what I'm doing now. So I had to not work with my coach because she made me feel terrible.
You wanted so much. You wanted to include yourself in the whole
Yes.
package. And I think that's very, very important. That's one of the things that I say: to be sustainable and in business, you have to know why you're doing it and include your whole self, because
Right.
you're the driving force. You're the person who's going to make your business come to life. So
Right.
it's pouring all that into it. That's so important.
And it's too bad because I'm not interviewing her. She was my coach for 1 month.
Okay.
But I realized I really need to find a coach that I resonate with and that supports me. All she said was, Connie, focus on write your selfie.
Okay.
And it just didn't resonate with me.
I think one can create flow in the business process by including, I have this holistic approach. Of course, you need to focus at times at
Exactly.
you have to find out what you're focusing on. And I would say my holistic approach is actually that in your business, you should also look at relationships, and that is relationship to yourself and to your team, if you have a team, and to your customers, to, those
Right.
customers, clients that you're having. And then you have to look at your health, because you have to manage your energy. You have to be able to come into your business with the right flow and with the right type of energy, so you're sustainable. Because a lot of my clients, they find out that they reach that state where they're just into overwhelm. And that in itself creates a lot of blockages. And then you need to be able to look at the work you're doing and make that efficient. So, and have those processes in place that you're taking action and moving forward. So they work with each other. So and creates this success mindset, because you're bringing yourself into the business. And I mean, that's your greatest asset. You are your greatest asset. And and branding is so important, because you are telling a story. Just like now, you're telling a story with your brand, and that's what's going to attract your customers to you, because it's I recognize myself in that, and you have a story behind it, why you created this. So the branding needs to be come from you and who you are.
Exactly.
So I do work around finding out who this person is, and what they represent. That's very important. Or what the team wants to represent. And you can look at values, what kind of impact you want to make in the world, and so on.
Well, that's great, because I think a lot of people, I made a mistake and I spent some money on that. And it's, I don't know about branding. That's up to somebody to clarify it for me. But she told me, focus on write your selfie. And then I tried to do she wanted to do a barter agreement with me. I told her I can help her. I was a writing teacher for 40 years in college. And I said, why don't you write a book and I'll help you about coaching? And so she showed me this book, this, bunch of pages that she had sitting at her desk for 4 years. And she said, can you look at it? And I will not charge you for coaching. So I had already decided I was not going to work with her, but I looked at her book and I spent a whole weekend. It was about 400 pages and I edited for her. But I wanted to say to her, what you told me to focus on write your selfie. This is not focusing on write your selfie, but I sent it back to her because that's what I do. It's easy for me.
So what would you say? I mean, if so that probably wasn't the most effective coaching for you,
right?
No, but if I would say if you're looking for effective coaching, I would say, first of all, you have to have a coach who's looking for the results,
right?
Who's going to help you look for the results that you want. Be very clear about where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, you'll be going all over the place.
Right.
So that is, what kind of results do you want, and why do you want those results? because sometimes we think that we want a result, and it may be monetary result, but there are some other parts that we want as well. So it's important to know the why, so we don't leave out some of these important aspects of our business. So we really have that in it as well. And then finding your process. I do a whole workshop on this. You know, what is the process of, for example, your product? What is the process of that product reaching the customer from start to the end of it? And I workshop my client through that whole process to see what's it going to be like, and because then you can create your own signature process. This is you. This is your business. This is Connie's business. It looks like this. And at the end of it all, you see that your customer is happy, got that product or your process, or you got that final result that client wants, at least for this process. And you can see all the steps. And now that you know the steps, then you can look at what you need to do to make it come to fruition. Yeah, to take those action steps, and you can look at, and also when you have those action steps, it's not always easy. And we know we need to work hard, and sometimes we don't do what we should do, and look at those setbacks. How are you going to tackle setbacks? So that's another thing, because we always come to setbacks. I mean, that always happens. You come to, it's this big hill. How am I going to get over it? And then you need help coaching maybe in how do you actually navigate so that you can get past the setbacks and past those difficulties. And you grow. I mean, you grow as a business owner. That's what you do when you get past your setbacks and keep moving on. And then also to celebrate those when you reach your goals. That's very important, so that you're actually enjoying the process of having a business, because it's not just the end result. It's the way moving forward and expanding and scaling up. All that is part of it. So you really have to keep celebrating along the way. That's very, very important. And then one thing that I find really, really important, and that I emphasize when I work with clients, is to find those habits that actually are going to create results and reinforcing them. So when you've found your process and then you can you get that to be a routine, you get those small habits that you can implement, reinforcing them, so it makes it easier.
Well,
so
let me just interrupt you for one thing. One of the things that's so good about you as a coach is you're smiling through the whole thing. You're smiling, and that's really important. To have a coach who smiles, who's engaging, and who understands the person. Now, my why is a little bit different from most because of my age. I'm 73. I'm not going to become a billionaire, but I like to help people. And I first of all, I like to be an inspiration to other people my age, that you can still move forward, even after you retire. And I joined Clubhouse, and I'm probably the oldest person on Clubhouse. It's fine. And I'm on Instagram, and people my age don't go on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram because I'm learning. But I just love your smile. And so I want to help other people, by inspiration. And I also have products that help the older generation, because we are totally overlooked in the marketplace. For example, this book that I write, this memory book, you're probably too young to think about it. Okay, writing your memories. Okay, but so many people that I have met have said, oh my God, my grandma just died. I wish I had known. I wish I had talked to her more to find out all of her stories. And, so this is a chance for people like you to sit around the kitchen table or even on a Zoom call and interview your parents and your grandparents and get their story down, because they love to share their stories. Yeah. So this is a chance for young people to bond with older people and get their stories down. And, like maybe in 20 years, you might want to write your story. But for now, you can do the story of your loved ones. Yeah. And, even people in a nursing home, they would just absolutely love it. I've had a few people in nursing homes who want me to help them write their story, but I don't know, I don't have their pictures. So it has to be somebody who has access to them, who can work with me. Do you understand?
Yes. So you would have that product, the
write your selfie.
Write your selfie. You can use it for either the end user, so to say, the person who is writing their own story, or the generation, sort of the younger person, using that to interview.
Yeah, I think the most fun thing would be for somebody like you to write your grandma's story before it's too late, and then you can write your what?
My grandma passed away quite a while ago.
Okay, well, your mother's story. Is your mother still alive?
No, she passed away when I was very young.
Okay, well, then it could be your story if you still have memories of them. Like the story about the Titanic, I didn't even know about it. Amazing. But isn't that interesting? And another story I put in my book is I have a picture of me standing with my mother and one brother and one sister next to a car. And I said, you see that car? I think it's a Plymouth. I was born in that car. My parents couldn't quite make it to the hospital. Now, isn't that interesting?
Really?
Yeah. So this is just like a picture and a caption. Mm. And the whole thing, when I see a picture, I think of a story that I can send, that I can add to it, that makes it really easy for my grandchildren to read it.
Uh-huh. So what would you need at this stage in your business? What would you need coaching on?
That's great. Well, I like that you said you have to focus on your brand and what are the steps you need to make it successful. So I think you said success looks differently from different people. Yes. Of course, I would like to make a little bit of money because I have to pay my coach and I can't just do it, on my Social Security.
And it's important also, there's another reason for actually making some money, is that you want your business to be sustainable.
Yes.
You want it to stand on a stable ground so that it can, and that you have the possibility of doing just that. So doing that business and spending time on it. So that's important for that reason.
So, yeah, so that's why I'm interviewing you, because I'm finding so many different I just started my interview process and I'm finding so many great tips without even having to hire you yet. But I will pick a business coach, because, it has to be the right fit for me and it has to be the right fit for you. So I want to know, who's your ideal client?
Oh, my ideal client is somebody who's really quite a driven person who really wants something, with a, high passion person. Those are usually my clients because they find that, first of all, they want to move fast and I help them with that. And another thing is that when they find me, they may have come to a point where they're feeling a bit of overwhelmed, that it's a bit too much. They know that they have to they know that they have to choose their path to move forward, because they can't be doing everything. Even though they're highly driven and they want to do everything, they really have to be more efficient. At the same time, they want to feel good. they want to stay healthy. So I'm a nutritionist. I'm a health expert. At the same time, I have that experience from the corporate world and from startups. I've worked with a lot of startups, and actually being the president of the Innovation Society here in Sweden. So I've worked with that a lot, that ecosystem. So many of my clients, what they want is to have me help them get through a process where they become more efficient and more on point in their business and have that health aspect. So many of them want to be able to do business and feel good while doing it. So,
that is great. So listen, I just so appreciate this interview, because you're not only helping me, but you're helping so many other people, because there are a lot of people who have a business
yep.
and who could use a business coach, but just don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is my purpose, is to help me and to help other people like me. And is there anything else you'd like to say? I mean, I just love this interview.
Oh, thank you. I'll just say that it's so important to go to yourself and figure out what's going on inside of me. What do I want with my business? What impact do I want to make? And I think a lot of people, they have good ideas, but they don't really think of the business itself.
Exactly.
What they want to do with the business and how they want to work in the business. You may want a big team. You may want to keep it small. You may want to, how much time do you want to spend on your business? That kind of thing. And what type of life do you want to live? So that, I think that's very important, to look at the whole aspect, because we work a lot of time. I mean, we work a lot of the hours we're awake, we're working. So let that be something that you enjoy and that keeps you happy and healthy. I think that's important. That holistic approach is really important for sustainable business, I believe.
Well, that is actually so wonderful. So I call myself a grandmapreneur, because on top of having a business, I have 6 grandchildren, and 3 of them live with me, and I kind of put them first. So I have to send them out of the room when I'm doing some work, but I always put my grandkids first. So I think what that means is I have a lot of energy.
I see that in you, really. And that's what and that's what you're bringing into your business. And that's the thing, never to leave that outside of it, because it needs to be integrated in your life. I mean, you have that long experience with you, and I mean, you've lived a number of years. So now you have to make your business fit into your life, and at the same time, move your business in a direction that suits you and the clients or the customers that will, be a perfect fit for you. So I think you're going to manage very well.
Thank you. I so appreciate you, Inyang, with all of the wisdom that you have shared with us.